Hi, today we're taking a look at games developed or published by Thalion, the Amiga years. Now Thalion are a German-based company that consists of people from the Amiga and Atari demo scene, so you can expect some really good graphics and some great music as well. So without further ado, let's take a look and see what games they developed or published for the Amiga. Wings of Death, released in 1989. Wings of Death is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, and it's all based in a fantasy setting. You start off as a small insect and fly your way through a deranged castle, and once you collect your upgrades you can upgrade to a bird, a dragon and so on. A fantastic game with great music and graphics, and this is one of my personal favourites. Chambers of Shallowen, released in 1989 and also released in 1993 for the CD32. Now Chambers of Shallowen is a two-part game. In the first part you do your training and that's doing different tasks, and in the second part then you are one-on-one fighting. So the better you do in the training in part 1, the easier part 2 is. Seven Gates of Jumbala, released in 1989. Now 7 Gates of Jumbala is a jump and run game with a adventure side to it too, and your quest is to collect items and try and escape. It's a great game, it's got nice graphics and I love the music too. Warp, released in 1989. Now Warp is a shooter with scrolls in all directions. The goal is to destroy the anti-warp generator of each world. But first they are protected with shields, so you must disable them. This is a great game with great music and graphics. Tower Fra, released in 1990. You take on a role as an air traffic controller in this one, and you're assigned to one of 5 different German airports. The game itself might not be much to look at, but there's certainly plenty of depth in this one, including a huge instruction manual with it for you to learn. Something totally different for you to try. A Prehistoric Tale, released in 1990. You play the role as a time traveller whose job is to rescue dinosaur eggs from an unsafe environment so they got a chance to hatch and evolve into mammals. This is a fun platformer game with great music and graphics. Magic Lines, released in 1990. Now Magic Lines is a tile puzzle game. I ain't a bad one either. It's difficult because you're against the clock and your goal is to fill all the vials with magic red substance reassembling blood. You gotta be quick on this one because time runs out very quickly. Leaving Tramus, released in 1990. Your ship has been taken over by aliens, and all your crew is already left on the escape pods, but you're left behind because you had a heavy night drinking the night before. You know, your goal is to blast your way through the ship, destroying all the aliens and find our escape pod. It's got great music and graphics, this one. Dragonflight, released in 1990. Now Dragonflight's a fancy role-playing game, and it's primarily loosely based by the Ultima series. Now in Dragonflight, your goal is to hunt down the missing dragons. So you got your top-down perspective of the game, and also you got your 3D style dungeon crawlers part as well. This is a great game and one you need to try. Atomics, released in 1990. Now Atomics is a puzzle game, as you can see, and on each level you are given a couple of atoms, and your task is to arrange them into a specific molecule. Sounds complicated, but the game itself is straightforward enough. It's a great game, it's got great graphics, and it's very addictive. Enchanted Land, released in 1990. Now Enchanted Land is set in a peaceful land of Demiran, but unfortunately an evil wizard stops by and takes over. And in this case he breaks the heart of the wisdom, and 5 pieces are scattered in 5 different levels, and your goal now is to collect all 5 pieces so the game has a happy ending. It's a great game, It's a great music, great gameplay and graphics too. A320A bus, released in 1991, and the one I'm showing you is the Europa edition. A couple of years later they even released a USA version too. In this game you're flying a passenger airline, and this was unheard of back in the early 90s. This game is massive. The instruction manual alone will take you a few hours to read, and it took me a couple hours just to get the plane to take off. But what a game it is. It's got it all in it, and if you're a fan of this sort of genre, I certainly recommend you trying it out. Ghost Battle, released in 1991. Now Ghost Battle is similar to the likes of Shadows of the Beast and Ghosts and Goblins mix. You've got your arcade style part to it, and also you've got your puzzle elements to it too. It's a great game, it's got great music, it's got great graphics too. But it's very difficult, it's quite short with only 5 levels as well, but very challenging. Tangram, released in 1991. Now Tangram's a Chinese puzzle game. It consists of a set of 7 shapes, representing squares, triangles and so on, and you must form up shapes like buildings and animals and so on. It's a complicated game, but once mastered, you'll be playing this one for hours. Trex Warrior, 22nd Century Gladiator, and this was released in 1991. This is a 3D arena battle game, and it's a great one too. Your goal in it is to go to 5 different planets, and you take on 30 enemies in each. And once you conquer them all, you become champion. It's got great graphics and music too. No Second Prize, released in 1992. Now, No Second Prize wasn't featured in my favourite Amiga races of all time. And the simple reason for that is because I never played it back then. But I'm enjoying it now. It's got a great sense of speed, it's got great handling, and it's challenging too. Using a tank mouse as well, it makes it great fun. If you haven't played this racer on the Amiga, you certainly need to do so. Neuron X, released in 1992. And this is another puzzle game by Thalion. But in this one it's all based on tiles. So you gotta try to match up each tile and move on to the next. But you gotta make sure you don't leave gaps between the tiles when you make a move, because if you do, you gotta start it again. It's a challenging game, but fun at the same time. Amber Star, released in 1992. And this is the first of the 2 games I'm going to show you in one series. Now Amber Star is a role-playing game which uses top-down view for the overworld travel and most indoor locations. But then it goes into first-person 3D perspective when you're in cities and dungeons. This is a great game. I can't go into it too much with the storyline because it's a long one. But if you like your RPGs, I certainly recommend you trying this one out. Amber Moon, released in 1993, and this is the sequel to Amber Star. Now Amber Star is a great game, but Amber Moon takes it up a notch because the graphics and music and gameplay is vastly improved. It's a long game, but the storyline keeps you going. Plenty of doing it as well. Graphics, music wise, this game is certainly a work of art. And the last game I want to show you is Lionheart, released in 1993. Now Lionheart is a stunning platformer on the Amiga. It's not one I played back then, but I'm certainly playing and enjoying it now. It's got awesome graphics with a parallax scrolling too, and our music as well is very atmospheric. If you haven't played this game, I certainly recommend you doing so. It's an absolute masterpiece. Thank you all for watching, and see you all again soon.